Hey guys! Before we start, I just need to clarify what I'm referring to in this video when I mention blood sugars. My Dexcom G6 is measuring my interstitial fluid, so even though I do mention blood sugars in this video, my Dexcom G6 is measuring something different to what a blood glucose meter would. A blood glucose meter and your CGM will both give you a number. They measure glucose from different sources, blood and interstitial fluid. So those numbers may be different. As always, if your glucose alerts and readings from the Dexcom G6 don't match symptoms or expectations, use a blood glucose meter to make diabetes treatment decisions. Hello guys, and welcome on back to She's Diabetic. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrea. I have been a type 1 diabetic for over 20 years, and this is just a channel all about that. My life with type 1 diabetes, some tips, some tricks, some hacks, but most of all, just my personal experience living with the condition, sharing that with you guys. So for today's video, or should I say tonight's video, I am going to be taking you through my evening routine that sets me up for the best possible sleep and thus day ahead with type 1 diabetes possible. I am a firm believer in how you bookend your day can significantly impact not only your diabetes, but your entire life. And I mean your morning routine and your evening routine. And I'm going to be doing videos about both these things, but tonight's video is my evening routine. Not all of it's achievable every single night, but these are sort of my main 4 or 5 tips for getting the best evening of blood sugars possible and thus setting myself up for the best sleep possible. I am very pleased to announce that this video is made in partnership with Dexcom. Dexcom is my CGM of choice, my diabetes best amigo. The Dexcom G6, in case you don't know, is a small wearable device that keeps track of your blood glucose measurements 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no finger pricks required. And my goodness, it has been a huge and continues to be a huge player in how I structure my evening routine. More on that later, but special thanks to Dexcom for partnering with me on this video. So first up, my evening routine starts right at the dinner point of my day. So right now it's about 6:30. That's a little bit later than I like to eat. I sort of like to eat around the 6 o'clock mark. Now some of you may think, oh my gosh, that's a really early dinner time, but bear with me. I like to have an early dinner because I like to know what my blood glucose levels are doing after dinner. So I like to get started early so I can reach that flat line and then cruise straight into sleep and have those sweet, undisturbed dreams. So some might argue that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but I think, well, every meal is important, but I think with type 1 diabetes, dinner can be a make or break. And that is because it can send you into your overnight either spin out of control, evening of snacking if you don't eat enough, evening of battling lows if you don't eat enough, evening of battling highs if you eat certain foods that just are really hard to bolus for and adjust for. So this is all in an ideal world, but for me, for dinner, for the ideal evening routine, I do a meal that I am very adept at bolusing for, so meaning I've had it many times, I know the carb count, I can make it and take my insulin for it in my sleep. That's my number 1. My number 2 is something that is not necessarily carb heavy. Just a personal one, but for me, when I eat carbs late at night, that tends to be more of a blood sugar battle in one direction or another, whether it be high or low. So I tend to like to do something a little bit lower carb in the evening so that I can just turn off my brain a little bit more easily. So let me talk you through what I've got here. It's not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but I have mixed vegetables, a beetroot and cabbage kind of slaw that I made with some apple cider vinegar dressing, 4 chicken sausages, and then a salad, a side salad of lamb's lettuce and Italian dressing. So that meat and veg and salad combo is a go-to for me. It's tried and true. I tend to see very stable blood sugars after as a result. And I want this to be big and good and satisfying because I tend to stop eating after dinner. And that way I can achieve a more stable line and see what's going on. I'll talk about that a bit in the next few steps. But yeah, so I want it to be big and satisfying and filling, but also full of fiber and full of veg and not so full of those dense carbs, which I would probably have earlier in the day. And I know with this meal, I've got about 30 grams of carbohydrate. So I've already bolused for that. I got that on board about 15 minutes prior to eating. So I'm currently at 130 side arrow, got my pre-bolus on board. It's a little bit higher than I'd like, but like, let's not go over the top here. But enough chat because this is getting cold. Dinner is done. And just to keep it really real with you here, I'm chomping on a little bit of dark chocolate. This is Green and Black's mint dark chocolate. Sometimes, you know, you just gotta have a little treat. After dinner, you can see I'm up and I am moving about, and that is definitely intentional. I've let everything digest and sit for, 20 minutes or so, and now I am up and I'm going to do the dishes and get some movement in. Now, for me, this can also include a post-evening walk, maybe even some slow, lovely, stretchy, outy yoga, that type of thing, but some kind of movement post-meal, post any meal, but especially a post-evening meal, I think is incredibly, incredibly important and beneficial. Especially because after dinner, we tend to, we tend to sit and chat or then move straight onto the sofa, which don't worry, we'll get there. But we tend to sort of mellow out, which I think is a glorious thing. But just a bit of movement after the meal can be really, really beneficial, at least in my opinion. So oftentimes, I'll tell you a secret, I make a mess while I'm preparing dinner because that will encourage me to then clean up, give everything a good clean. If I need to take the bins out, if I need to do anything like that, I do it after dinner to get that digestion moving. Like, have you ever had a big meal with friends where you've sat there for ages and ages and ages and your blood sugar has just sort of stayed level or even crept up, and then you get up after that meal and you walk, to the tube or to your car or wherever you're going, you go for a little walk and all of a sudden your blood sugar plummets? Well, it's the same concept. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but it's definitely something I've seen and something I've seen play out in my graph, my Dexcom G6 graph, over and over and over again. So however you see fit, however you feel good, it's all about the joy in everything that we do always. So if a yoga session sounds like absolutely not to you, then don't do it. If a walk sounds like, no, I'm simply not going outside after I have just been outside at work all day or whatever, no problem. I think the magic of just getting up and doing the dishes, moving around, clearing the table, getting a few household tasks done, just 10-15 minutes can be so beneficial. And if that is accompanied by a little, chocolate or a sweet treat, I think it's just fine. I think that's just fine. Best time of the day. Now is the best time of the day. So, food has been consumed, chocolate has also been consumed, and now is that time where you just settle in and you do the things that make you feel relaxed, or at least that's what I do. Let's do a little check-in with my blood sugar. My blood sugar is currently sitting at 145 side arrow, and I'm feeling full-blown in the relaxation zone, which brings me to step 3 and 4. Step 3 is do the things that make you feel relaxed. If that's a bath, take a bath. If that's lighting a candle, light a candle. If that's watching your favorite TV program, please, please, please get that Netflix going. All those things are my absolute go-to and feel all the sweeter when I've done all the things around the house that I need to do. I've moved my body a little bit post-meal, and I just feel settled and relaxed and ready to really, really, really mellow out. Everyone's go-tos are different. Everything that makes people feel relaxed is different, so I'll just share with you 2 of mine. First of all, I love a hot water bottle. I'm a cold person, I run cold, and when I cuddle up with a hot water bottle and watch a bit of Netflix, I am like in heaven. And my body gets that signal that like, shutting down, time to relax. And it's just, for me, the hot water bottle creates a switch. It relaxes me and just turns me into melted butter, basically. So I love a hot water bottle for this reason. And I also personally love an evening stretch. Again, I do it while I'm watching TV. I do it sometimes in bed. Like just stretching out my limbs. I don't know, maybe I'm quite a stress muscle tension holder person, but like just to be able to kind of loosen those joints, those muscles, just elongate everything. I swear sometimes just stretching, and I mean the lightest, most delicate of stretches, I can see my blood sugar go down. I feel like it's a real stress relief that in turn can sometimes really be great on the blood sugars. So those are my go-to, all accompanied by a great TV show or movie. Oh, and tea. Can't forget tea. So I really tend to like stop eating after dinner. That's just how my stomach feels best, but I don't stop having tea. I do love to combine a tea with all of the above. It's really an essential. My go-to at the moment, and has been for a while, is a licorice and mint by Puka. And mixed into all this becoming butter melting behavior, I keep an eye on my trusty Dexcom G6 app. So I have the app on my phone. I've showed it to you a couple times already in this video, and I just tend to keep a little eye on and awareness of where my blood sugar is settling out post-meal and pre-bed. Before I had my Dexcom G6, I was pretty darn obsessive about my evening blood sugars, and I would take sometimes 7 finger sticks at night just to kind of get a grasp on where I'm at and what's happened with dinner and am I gonna go low overnight, and all of those anxieties really do not set you up for a good night's rest. I can tell you I've been there. I've tested it, it's not good. But because my Dexcom G6 can alert me when I'm going low, that really allows me and aids me in the relaxation of the evening. This is why I'm so passionate and would, if I could have one wish, I would wish that, well, I'd wish that diabetes wasn't a thing, wouldn't I? But really, I'd wish for every diabetic to have a Dexcom G6 because, and I genuinely mean that, because it has aided in my ability to forget about diabetes and to relax. That's not to say I neglect my diabetes, but I don't have to be as obsessive and it doesn't have to take up as much brain space for me. So really this is an integral part of my evening routine, especially I find I'm more likely to go low at night. And maybe because I'm relaxed, I'm on the sofa, I'm engrossed in a great TV show, whatever, I might not become aware of it until it's really gone bad. And then, you got the sweats, you gotta pound the sugar, and then you're eating everything in the fridge. Has anybody been there? So my Dexcom G6 really just helps me intervene earlier if that's the case, especially when I'm not aware of what's going on. Just generally keeping an eye on your blood sugar, whether you have a CGM, whether you're on finger sticks, really keeping a close eye on your blood sugar after dinner and ensuring that you're getting into that sort of more flattened out state so that you can go into sleep knowing that you've reached relatively steady state with your blood sugars. And if your basal rates and your long-acting insulin dosages are correct, you're more or less going to be able to see those flat lines overnight. Now, there's no guarantee, of course. Diabetes has a mind of its own more often than not. But these are the things I do to set myself up as best as humanly possible. So though I could talk to you about this all night, there is a very intriguing art heist documentary that needs attending to on Netflix. So, and so, to bed. All right, everybody just sit down, lay down, get ready. I'm about to lay down, no pun intended, some very extraordinary steps here to my evening routine, and that is my last and final tip is sleep. Quality content coming at you. No, but in all seriousness, my last and final step, and what we've been leading up to throughout this whole video, is the ultimate, and it's sleep. And sleep thus prepares you for the day ahead, and so on and so forth. It's a very cyclical procedure. So yeah, my last and final step is getting into bed. It's about 11:15 right now. I have done all my evening skincare and face wash and all of that jazz. And now I'm just getting into bed. I am checking in on my blood sugar. Interesting thing happened. About an hour ago, my blood sugar started rising a little bit. I hadn't eaten since dinner, so that was very curious to me. So basically at about 10 o'clock, I started seeing a little bit of a climb. I dosed a little bit of insulin. I moved around a tiny bit, just walked around a little bit, just to make sure I was staying in a good range for bedtime. Going to sleep at night and fearing that you are going to go low. Yeah, that's a fear. And it's especially a fear when you're going to sleep on your own, which I have done a lot in the past. And right now my fiance David, a lot of you are probably wondering, where's David? He's in the States at the moment. So for that reason, I'm on my own. And being on your own as a type 1 diabetic can be quite overwhelming from an overnight perspective, because we're so used to being conscious and physically aware of what's going on. And then suddenly you go to sleep and, it's kind of a scary concept that something could happen overnight. So this is where my G6 has just really come into its own for two reasons. First of all, I have the alarm system, but the other thing is the Dexcom Share app. So I mentioned about David being in the States, but he has access to seeing my numbers, and he also gets alerts if I'm going low. So oftentimes I will get woken up by my Dexcom, but other times also then David will be following up with a call or a text, checking in, making sure, I'm cognizant of the fact that I've gone low and making sure I'm treating and I'm okay and everything like that. Good quality sleep can be done no matter what. I don't want people to feel like they can't achieve good quality sleep without a CGM, but it's just aided me so much in lowering my anxiety and helping me get a good night's rest. I really hope you guys found this video interesting and useful. Please let me know down in the comments, what are your evening routines? What are the things that prepare you best for sleep and thus the day ahead? And so goes the cyclical cycle. What are those things? I would so love to know, because you guys always have the most fantastic tips. So let me know down in the comments below. As always and ever, I wish you guys a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. great blood sugars, straight CGM lines, and wonderful evening routines that set you up for a great night's rest, always and ever. But most importantly, I wish you guys a happy, healthy mind with it all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and good night.